Hello everyone, this is Zibo and welcome to this AFK journey video. So I just released the latest Graveborn team meta for Primal Lord, and I saw quite a few comments with regards to the factional talent side of things, which I want to clarify and also discuss about this topic, because I think factional talent is a very fundamental part of the Waves of Intrigue season that will always be evolving and changing with brand new metas as well as brand new game modes. So my very first advice for most normal players is to be patient, right? You don't have to reset every single time there is a new build. The reason why us as content creators are releasing all this is to let you guys know that this build exists, and once you guys know what are the better builds for your own account, you guys can use the respective builds for your own account for the different reasons that you want to achieve, right? If you want to be the best PvP player, then you will spec yourself into the PvP side. If you want to be the best damage dealer for Primal Lord, then you will spec into the Primal Lord Graveborn side or Light Bearer side, depending on who you think is the best team. And then for general content, it's Wilders, and Celestial Hypogean is obviously for the whale players itself. So in today's video, I'm going to share my current faction talent pathing and my plans for this faction talent pathing depending on how the meta changes and which talent is better for what game modes. Okay, so you guys have a clearer picture. But my key message for this video is don't worry too much in case you don't have any reset, because a lot of the contents, they are, I'll say, like not in a rush. For example, for Primal Lord, we just started Primal Lord, and Primal Lord will probably take at least 1 or 2 weeks more, so you definitely have enough time to spec into the best build by then. But for us, because we are putting out the contents first, therefore we are respecking to show you guys the different builds available, the different power levels of the different builds. Okay, so first of all, let's start with the Light Bearer talent, right? So yesterday we respec the Light Bearer talent for the Primal Lord, and we also discovered Light Bearer talents to be the best for the Battle Drill, because Rowan with Corin with all the spamming and the Tidal Essence artifact damage output is just really insane. And this build is more so for what I'll say the bossing side of things. So Guild Supremacy, your Battle Drill bossing, and obviously the Primal Lord. So there is the Light Bearer build that you guys can try if you have the Light Bearer build up. But unfortunately, before Luca and Stonya releases, I still think that the Light Bearer faction is by power level the weakest faction. Not because of the ability, but rather the units. Because the quality of Light Bearers are just really low, that it makes it such that there's very little variety in terms of team builds you can actually try this factional talent with. Obviously, the combo of Corin, Rowan, and +1 Light Bearer sounds really interesting and a lot of damage, but it is a very specific comp, and it is a very specific content type. So you can't actually use this combo for your AFK stage push. Neither can you use this combo for PvP, because Corin is not a good PvP character, and Rowan is no longer that good as a PvP character as well. So therefore, this is good for bossing purposes. It is not the best, obviously, because it's not versatile. It has some strengths, it has some niches, but even for the Primal Lord side, I do think that the Graveborn talent will scale up indefinitely. Because moving forward, as we get more levels, we get more stats. The stat buff coming out from the Graveborn talent, in case you guys do not know, I just released a video for the best meta team for Plague Lord, for Plague Creeper. So the best faction or the best talent for that is actually this Graveborn one, because the mini Plague Rods, like the boss split in two, they are not summons. So every one of those units you kill, you actually get a permanent stat increase, and it stacks indefinitely. So the more of those mini Plague Rods you kill, the more stats you get, and then that's where your damage output will just scale up, right? So the more cycles you can do, the more damage you get, and that's why I say Graveborn will just become stronger. And yes, Light Bearer skill is good, but Light Bearer skill just probably won't scale as good as the Graveborn side. I could be wrong. If I'm wrong, I'll probably change my name to something else, but like, I honestly think Graveborn is currently the best for the Primal Lord, and will probably be so for this boss, Plague Creeper. There's one more boss, which is Shellbrute, which will probably come 1 or 2 months later, but right now I think Graveborn specifically is good for Primal Lord. To a certain extent, I think Gravebond for PvP is also okay, because there are certain decent Gravebond characters that you use for PvP. For example, like Carolina, for example, Ludo is pretty decent, Torrent's okay, even Igor is also pretty decent for PvP. So there is some flexibility in this, right? This can also be used for bossing, although might not be as strong as the Light Bearer one for Battle Drill and Guild Supremacy, because those bosses don't have any summon for you to get the stat stacking going. But generally, I think Gravebond is either the second weakest or the third weakest, right? So the next one that I want to say is not as good as Celestial Hypogean. So this Factional Talent, let me correct myself, right? It's not as good because it's not as versatile, right? It is probably the strongest ability with some of the strongest units in the game. So if you're somebody who spends a lot, if you're a whale with multiple high tier Celestial Hypogean units that you use consistently for various game modes, I think Talon is pretty consistently used throughout everything. Fresto is pretty consistent as well. Reina is also pretty consistent. I think this three is usually the most commonly seen, and then there's still Skalita, and then if you go into PvP side, you have Dino and Barrow as well. So generally, Celestial Hypogean Talon is strong, but it is very niche, and it's very whale centric. So if you go by versatility, I'll give this like the second weakest or even the weakest, because like if you're free to play, don't bother with this. Like this is not going to benefit you in any game modes anyway, because you can't even have like 3 Celestial Hypogean built up. So in terms of versatility, maybe very low, right? But in terms of power level, probably one of the higher ones if you do get this ability up. So if you want me to rank the general power level of this one, I'll group it as a third. Yeah, the third one. So we have 5 talents. So I think Light Bearer is the weakest, because I think generally it is a very niche talent for bossing contents, and the general power level of Light Bearers, they are pretty weak, right? And then Gravebond is either 3rd or 4th. So Celestial Hypogean is also either 3rd or 4th, depending on how you see things. But if you are Primal Lord centric, I think Gravebond is going to be probably 3rd for you, right? Probably it matters more, because Celestial Hypogean, yes, is good, but a lot of the bossing contents you don't use Celestial Hypogean. So that's why it is hard to say which one is better between these two. But I will put Gravebond a little bit higher, because Primal Lord is gonna give you like more rewards based on your rankings, whereas Celestial Hypogean, yes, you might have an easier time for PvP, but considering the number of players or the percentage of players in AFK Journey that can fully utilize this ability, I think the versatility is very low. So that's why I think this will be 4th. And my second place is actually the Mauler. So let me explain, because for the Mauler side, I actually use Mauler to do some AFK stage push on certain stages, although the ability is not exactly the best with like Odie, with Coco, with Smokey, so that team don't actually use this a lot. But if you have like use for Shakir, for example, right, if you have use for the melee team with Lenya for bossing purposes, this talent is decent for those PvE contents. And then this talent is actually one of the strongest for PvP, because once you reach the double tau and once you unlock this, Prime Carrier is unaffected for the first 8 seconds for battle. It is also an answer to the control meta, which is very common and powerful. So I'll just showcase a few of my Supreme Arena runs. I just respected and I went for the Mauler side, because I don't actually have to attack that much on Supreme Arena, because I just been winning on my defense because of the Mauler setup. So what happens with this talent is that when you have this talent up, right, when you have 2 taus, your unit that you send in is not only not controllable, the unit is also able to do AoE damage while getting life drain. So I have Brutus in my team train up, and I send Brutus in with this skill, and it just like brings amazing effect for PvP side. So I'm more of a PvP Dream Realm bossing kind of player. So that's why for me, Battle Drill and like Guild Supremacy is not that high of a priority for me. Therefore, I put Light Bearer lower. So if you're somebody who don't care about PvP, Mauler will definitely be lower for you, because I think Mauler's talent in this season is more PvP centric, more fighting centric. So depending on your priority, it will change. So that's my evaluation for Mauler. And obviously, I think there's not much to be explained for Wilders. I think Wilders is in general the most versatile, useful across different game modes, also the strongest for a multitude of different game modes. For example, your stage pushing, right? Wilder is the strongest one. Wilder with OD, Wilder with Carolina, Wilder with Smokey. It's just too many Wilders. Wilders are just really, really good in general in terms of general unit power level, that upgrading this fractional talent is definitely the safest choice. It is the best, most versatile, safest choice if you're not sure how to spec your talent path, right? If you're somebody who doesn't really know, okay, what's your focus, what's the different stuff you want to achieve, then going for Wilders is never wrong. So for me, I went for Wilders, Mauler, and Gravebond. So this is for general contents, AFK stage push, PvP. This is for PvP and certain AFK stage push and certain melee teams in terms of the bossing side of things. And then I just respec into Gravebond for the Primal Lord bossing element. So that's pretty much it. Just a simple sharing of my fractional talent builds and the thought process moving forward, right? Before we end out the video, I know somebody's gonna comment down there like, Ziba, just respec into this. Ziba, this, I thought you said this build is good. So one thing I like to say about this season is that I think fractional talent is such a incredible thing that is always forcing people who loves to explore new stuff to try out different builds, and that's something that I love about AFK Journey. And yes, for those of you guys who just wants to copy paste the best build for your account, what I'll suggest for you is don't respec so fast, right? Wait for some time before testing out the stuff for yourself, right? Once you get like the best replay, screenshot, whatever, then you guys can copy paste. But if you're somebody who is like me, who loves to explore new builds, new ideas, and new strategies, this fractional talent has been pretty enjoyable so far, because like one spec from Lightbearer to Gravebond, and then you get like a better Primal Lord team, and then who knows, maybe the next day Mauler talent could rise up, right? And then maybe 1 week later somebody might find a combo with the Wilders talent, who knows? So this is the fun part to me. But for those of you guys who are there just to seek out for the best ideas and stuff, I would say don't be too FOMO, right? Just wait it out, wait for your resets, right? Wait for the next cycle of the ticket, and then you're good to go. Especially for Primal Lord. Primal Lord there's more than enough time for this boss because there's so much HP. Like, I think based on the pacing that we are killing the boss, it'll probably take at least another 1 week. Minimally another 1 week. So you guys definitely have enough time to respec at the last minute for the best build and then hit the boss with it. Okay, so that's pretty much it for this video. Just a very simple clarification and sharing in case you guys are like, oh no, Zip, I just respec into Lightbearer yesterday, I don't have any more reset and stuff. So I apologize, but my job is to show you guys the best build so that you guys can actually make the most informed decision which build you want to use for your own account. Okay, that's it for this video. Thank you very much for tuning in. Do remember to like and subscribe to see more. See you guys again in my next video. Bye guys.